Good morning, students. So, today we'll take up the topic for rights and responsibilities of consumers. In order to understand that why there is need to protect the rights of consumer, it is also important to understand the fact that there is growing interdependence of world economies on each other. Here, one can also not ignore the international character that many business practices are associated with. Thus, it becomes important to protect and promote consumer rights in the world where consumers are getting products from different corners of the world. Another reason associated with the concept of right is that consumers all over the world demand value for their money in terms of being provided with quality goods and better services. Taking into consideration modern technology, the developments and innovations that have no doubt made a great impact on the quality, accessibility, availability, and safety of goods and services, has required that the consumer rights should also be protected. But the fact of life is that the consumers are still of unscrupulous and exploitative practices prevailing since many years. Consumers' exploitation assumes numerous forms like adulteration of food, mixing of drugs, dubious hire purchase plans, poor quality of goods, deficiency in services, deceptive advertisements, hazardous products, and so on. Therefore, it is important to understand that what are the issues that are faced by consumers and what are their rights and how we can deal with these rights in order to protect them from any fraud or cheating. Here, it is also important we can take up the quote which is given by Mahatma Gandhi, where he states that a consumer is the most important visitor on our premises. He is not dependent on us, but we are dependent on him. He is not an interruption in our work, he is the purpose of it. He is not an outsider in our business, he is part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him, he is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do this. In this regard, it is important to study the rights and duties of the consumers. Consumers, as already stated earlier, it is a recognized theory of the jurisprudence when we talk about the rights and duties of the consumers. It is a recognized theory of jurisprudence even under the consumer law that both rights and duties are correlated and there can be no right without duty and vice versa. Rights are the product of a demand, where duties are the outcome of a conscience. They cannot exist alone because they are interdependent. Right cannot be enjoyed until unless someone has corresponding duty to perform, and on the other hand, duty cannot be performed except there is some right available. The consumer law is also the integral part of jurisprudence, and hence consumer rights should also be matched with some parallel duties and responsibilities. These rights are well defined, and there are agencies like government, consumer courts, and voluntary organizations that are working towards safeguarding these rights of the consumers. Thus, when we talk about rights and duties of consumer, we need to understand that what are different rights that have been given to the consumer, which is specified under Section 29 of the new Act and Section 6 of the old Act. Now, when we talk about these rights, there are mainly six types of rights. Now, first is right to safety. Now, when we talk about right to safety, the clause A says the right to be protected against marketing of goods which are hazardous to life and property. Now, it is the right to safety against such goods and services that are hazardous to health and life or property. For example, spurious and substandard drugs, appliances made of low quality of raw material, such as electronic press, pressure cooker, etc., of low quality. So, consumers have the right to safety against the loss caused by such products. Second right is right to be informed or right to representation, which is given under clause B. Now, this says that consumer also has right that he should be provided with all those information on the basis of which he decides whether to buy a good or not. This information can relate to quality, purity, potency, standard, date of manufacture, method of use, etc. Thus, producer is required to provide all this information in a proper manner so that consumer is not cheated. This is also called right to information. Third is right to choose. which says that the consumer has the full right to buy goods or services of his or her own choice among different goods or services that are available in the market. In other words, no seller can influence the choice of the consumer in any manner, and if the seller does so, then it shall be deemed to be infringement and interference with the such right. Fourth is right to be heard, which is given under clause D of the section. Now it says that the consumer has the right that his complaint be heard. Under this right, the consumer can file a consumer complaint against all those rights that has been infringed. Like, for example, if any right to safety, right to be informed, right to choose, all these rights are relevant only if consumer can file a case against infringement of any of these rights. The next right that can be understood is right to seek redressal. Now, this right provides compensation to consumers against any unfair trade practice. For instance, if the quality and quantity of the product do not conform to the promise of the seller, the buyer has right to claim compensation, such as free repair of the product, taking back of the money, changing of the products, and so on. Next, we come to right to consumer education, which is also called consumer advocacy, where consumer education where the consumer is educated about their own rights. In other words, consumer must be aware of the rights they enjoy against the loss they suffer on account of goods and services that are purchased by them. And government has taken up various measures to educate consumers. Like, for example, Ministry of Civil Supplies publishes a quarterly magazine under the title Upabhokta Jagran. Similarly, Doordarshan telecast a program titled Sanrakshan Upabhokta Ka. While we all like to know about our rights and make full use of them, consumer responsibility is another area which need to be understood, but the area is still not being demarcated. Consumers have number of rights regarding the purchase of things, but at the same time they have some responsibilities too. It means that the consumer should keep few things in mind while purchasing the goods or availing any type of services. Now, there are certain responsibilities. First is consumers should be aware of their rights and must exercise them accordingly. That shows that the consumers have many rights with regard to goods and services. They must be aware of these rights while purchasing any goods or availing some services. These rights, like for example, right to safety, to be informed, representation, secret redressal, etc., that we have already discussed. Second is cautious consumer or do not buy blindly. It says that the consumer should not make full use of their reason while buying things. They should not take the seller's word as final truth. They should make full use of their own understanding. In other words, while purchasing the goods, consumer must get information regarding the quality, quantity, price, utility, etc., of which goods and services are being provided for. That is, the consumer must be informed of the quality. Third is filing complaint for the redress of genuine grievance. Now, it is the responsibility of the consumer to approach the officers concerned with respect to any complaint about any goods or services. Any kind of late complaint may find that the period of guarantee or warranty has lapsed. Sometimes consumer ignore the deception of businessmen also. So this tendency encourages corrupt business practices. So it is very important that the consumer should know what are their rights and how to approach the court. Fourth is consumer must be quality conscious, do not compromise on quality. Now, the consumer should never compromise on quality of the goods to say that they should not buy inferior stuff out of great greed or for less price. If the consumer behave like this, there cannot be any protection for them from any loss or damages that has been caused to them. So, what it is saying? It is saying that it is the responsibility of consumer only to buy goods with ISI mark, egg mark, wool mark. Like there are some quality check or there are some marks that has been given with respect to the quality. That is, they must ensure that the product is of quality has been stated, and that one can ensure only with help of these symbols that are given with respect to the quality of the goods. Fifth is advertisement often exaggerated. Beware of false advertisements. Now, the seller informed the consumer about their product through the medium of advertisements, and the sellers, in order to sell their product, they exaggerate the quality of their goods in their advertisements. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the consumer to recognize the truth of advertisement. And after the amendment of 2019, frivolous or misleading advertisement are booked under the case, and penalty can be imposed on them. And there is CCPA, that is Center Consumer Protection Authority, which has been also been introduced as a regulatory authority and has been empowered to take actions against false or misleading advertisements. So this CCPA imposes a penalty of up to 1 million rupees and up to 5 million for every subsequent violation. So it is important to note that such penalty can be imposed on endorsers too, the one who is endorsing the advertisement, provided if they prove that they have taken all the due care to check the veracity of or the quality of the product, then they can be exempted from the liability. This has also covered, the amendment has also covered the endorsement of any frivolous or misleading advertisements by the celebrities. Sixth is, do not forget to get receipt and guarantee warranty card. Now, these are few things that one should remember, because if there is any inferior or defect in the product, or inferior quality product has been given, one can claim the repair or change or exchange of the goods only with the help of these guarantees and warranty cards. So consumers should ensure that they have got these cards with them. They should not hurry. Seventh point, which is the also the responsibility of the consumer, that they should not be in a hurry. It means that the consumer should not make an estimate of the things they want to buy, and they should in fact make they should make an estimate of the things that they want to buy, along with the quality that they require to purchase. They should also take in consideration the place from where they are buying. So after analyzing everything, they should take up a step of purchasing a good or availing any services. Being a green consumer, that says that a consumer must consume those products which do not cause harm to the environment, and they should go for biodegradable products which can be easily mixed with soil and water after they are disposed of. So these are few responsibilities. So there is also one of the slogan that you must have heard, that Jago Grahak Jago, that says that you should be aware of your rights, you should be aware of the quality product, the services that have been provided, terms and conditions under which services are given. All these things are very important for a consumer to know. So when we talk about the infringement of these rights, there are certain remedies that are provided, that is removal of defects in good, payment of compensation, return of price by the seller, replacement of goods. So this is why it is important to understand that what are our rights and responsibilities. Now, when we talk about Consumer Protection Act, it seeks to provide a speedy and simple redressal to consumers, which is the main purpose behind implementing the act. Now, it has specified the rights also. And the Consumer Act also provides for setting up of three-tier quasi-judicial mechanism. This machinery has been authorized to provide time-bound relief to consumers. So these authorities that are there are basically, we will take up consumer protection councils that are established at each level, state and district. We will take up National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, State Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, and District Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, which is a three-tier system. And we will also take up introduction of the Central Consumer Protection Authority, which is a new regulatory authority after 2019. So in next class we will focus on the authorities, the three-tier system that has been established under the act, that is the district forum, state commission, national commission. And the district forum, which has been defined under 215, section 215, and state commission, which has been provided under section 244, national commission at 229. And we will also look into their jurisdiction, constitution, what are their powers, what is the procedure for filing a complaint before the dispute redressal forums, and what are the reliefs that are provided to the parties, and how these orders are enforced. So all these aspects relating to the three-tier system that exists in India to protect the rights of consumer shall be taken up in the next class. Till then, take care. Have a nice day.